sad day. It's a sad day. It's a sad month just because this, the long-termer, it's time for it to go back. But before it does, let's talk about it because it's been an amazing car to have on the fleet for the last 3 months or so. Just testing it, driving it about like it's my own car. And this is probably the first long term I've ever done because I don't actually get to have these cars for that long most of the time, to actually get to experience it, live with it, see what it's like, to be able to bring you some information to do with things like practicality, what it's like to charge it up every day, how much it's costed me over the last 3 months or so. So we're going to talk about all that. This one here is the RS e-Tron GT, and it's the carbon Vorsprung edition, which is the full whack that you can go for. And this will cost you to buy, wait for it, 139,000 and a half. Am I saying that right? 139,500. So basically under £40,000 to buy if you were to get this exact package, which is a whole lot of money if you think about it. But is it actually worth that price tag though? I think it depends who you ask. If you ask me, and I had £140,000 to buy maybe this or the Taycan maybe, I'd definitely go for this one. Some of the reasons why, let's start with the design. It looks absolutely fantastic. There's no way I've taken this car that it hasn't turned heads, whether it's older people, whether it's younger generation, doesn't matter who. When they see this car, they always look and either ask me questions or whatever. The first day this got delivered, everywhere that I drove to, people asking me, do I play football? What do I do for a living? That kind of stuff, because it just looks really nice. But at the same time, it doesn't scream money. It's not loud in terms of the way that it looks. So it's not like driving a Lamborghini where everywhere you go, it's obvious what's going on. But yeah, talking about that design, it looks fantastic, whether it's the front, whether it's the back. I love those LED headlights, which adapts as well to the road that you're driving in so you don't blind the upcoming vehicle. For example, loads of tech there already. It's got those nice 21-inch alloys, which looks fantastic as well. I love the design, and I love what Audi's done there. The red brake calipers, they look absolutely amazing. I love this colorway as well. The color that's coming, this like Daytona gray color. I think it looks fantastic. Let's put the price to the side for a minute. Let's just talk about the sheer level of technology, engineering, design prowess that Audi have put into this car. This is a fantastic car. And it's wearing that RS badge with pride because there's so much about this car to love, to the tiny little detail where we've got 2 charging ports on the front, so it doesn't matter which side you face in when it comes to charging the car. It's practical in that sense. You can charge it on either sides, although one side does have the CCS charging ports, which means faster charging. And speaking of charging, this will support up to 270 kilowatts fast charge if you can find somewhere to actually be able to do that. And even when you do, it's rare that you get that speed in this car, which is a shame, but it's still pretty fast. So if you find those Ionity charging stations, you'll be able to charge this up very quickly. But, oh, that sounded nice. But also means that this will cost you a lot more to charge if you're using those faster charge network. But that's not specific to the RS e-Tron GT. That's just specific to any fast charge car that's capable to do that sort of charging experience. So that. Speaking of sound, the car that just went past sounded really good. This sounds amazing as well. So especially at low revs, you do little taps like that and basically just sounds really good. Audi have designed the sounds to go with this. You can change the level, the intensity of the sound as well in the settings here, but I kind of just left it at medium, so it kind of sounds really good. So especially when you move off the line somewhere, people hear it, they think it's something else, but actually it's just an electric car. We'll talk about the front as well. We've got space in the front, and in the front, it's quite awkward to get into, so you have to find that button. I remember first time I took delivery of the car, I was trying to find out to get into the front, but it's actually situated on the driver's door, so you have to find where that is and then press the button, and then it opens up the front. So you can then store your charge cable. It's also where you replace the washer fluid. It's got your safety kit in there, so like tow bar and tire repair kit. It's all in there, so you can do exactly just that. The boot space is just over 300 litres of boot space. But my issue with the boot space is the entrance of it, because yes, you have a big space, big opening, but because the car sloped on the back, it means that when you put bigger boxes in the boot, the electronic tailgate would just pop back open because it hits the big boxes. So that's something to bear in mind. You have to shove it right at the back in the boot to be able to make sure that that doesn't happen. But that's about it for me on the exterior. I think it looks really good. They've done a fantastic job. I think this is timeless design, which means if you were to buy one of these in 2026, it's still going to look the part. People still think it's a refreshing, sporty, snazzy looking car regardless, and it's amazing. I love that about the car. Moving on to the interior of the car, there's a lot to talk about as well. Let's start with the back seat. The seat material, the fine nappa leather that's used, absolutely amazing. I love the quality with the honeycomb finishing, with the contrasting stitching on there, looks amazing as well. You got climate control on the back for the back passengers, USB-C ports. They don't get seat massage, for example, which is something that you get in the front seats. You can do different level of seat massage settings. There's loads of like control, electronic controls as well for the seat, so you can move it forwards and backwards and all that stuff. It's a bit slow, but first world problems. You can still adjust the seat, that's all that matters. But for the back seat though, if you're someone like me who's 5'11", you might find it a bit of a struggle to sit there for a long period of time because it's not the most spacious or the most comfortable experience when it comes to the space that you get in the back seat. Audi says there's a third seat in the middle, but I doubt very much anyone's going to sit there because it's very, very tight space and you sit quite high up. It's not the most comfortable of experiences when it comes to the back seat. So I wouldn't sit someone there for a long period of time. But then again, who's buying this for that purpose? I know I'm not, but it's there for it to take passengers. Some might disagree with me there. The back seat doesn't have the netting that you get on the back seat, so you won't be able to store anything there for the back passengers. The front seat, it's very sporty, keeps you in place. When it comes to things like body roll, when you start to go around corners and stuff like that, it keeps you tightly in space. It actually adjusts as well as you get in the car so that you feel nice and snug in your seat. I love this red seat belts as well. I think they look absolutely amazing, depending on which colorway you go for, so you can spec that up as well, depending on what you prefer. But back to the seat, it's very comfortable. You can adjust in different ways. It's got seat massage. But where I want to touch upon in the front cabin is the amount of space that you get here. You don't get much space at all. You got door cabin here where you can store a big bottle. They've kept it nice and wide so you can store stuff there. And then we've got the front area here. It's hard to store your phone. There's a little space here to store something, maybe your key, and that's about it. But you can't really put a phone there. It's a struggle to get a big phone in there, especially this day and age where everyone has your iPhone 15 Pro, the 15 Pro Maxes and stuff like that. And then the cup holders, you got 2 cup holders, which you can store your phone there. But if you do get a cup of coffee, then you struggle as to where you can actually put your phone then, because there's nowhere to put it. And then just behind that, there's another cubby hole where you can store things, but even that is not big enough. But there is a space there to charge your phone wirelessly. If you struggle enough, you can get your phone in there, but you do get used to that. Once you get used to how that goes in and out, that's no problem at all. But generally here, there's not much space. Even the parcel shelf area, when you go into that glove compartment, there's pretty much little space in there. But if you're just someone who's driving by yourself, you can just store them in a bag, stick them in a boot, Bob's your uncle, you're good to go. But as far as practicality go inside of the cabin here, there's not enough space, but it's nice and comfortable. The cabin is quiet as well, it's not too loud. You do get the engine, the fake engine noise, which I love. I just like listening to it, like listen. Oh, and it goes with your speed as well. So as you're speeding up, it sort of increases as well, which is good. I love the Alcantara finishing all around here as well, on the steering. Looks great. I love the head-up display area. Again, Alcantara finishing. And this glossy piano black area, surprisingly, is held on really well. There's hardly any scuffs, easy to wipe. Yes, there's a fingerprint magnet, but it's easy to wipe off when you need to wipe them off. So there's no issues there. You get Bang & Olufsen sound system in here, which sounds absolutely amazing. You can tweak things like the bass, the treble, tweak the surround level as well, so you get different sort of sound experience that you like. But other than that, really good cabin experience, I think. I think it's fantastic. Let's talk about the buttons as well. You get plenty of buttons here, like your gear shifter. The volume control is like a touch capacitive thing. You got park assist button, park assist plus, which means you can go in and out of parking spaces very easily. You can park itself if you trust it. It does work really well, by the way. And then the screen here is not too big, it's not too small. I think it's bang on. It might be a bit outdated to some people, but I think I'm used to it now because I see a lot in Audis. But I think I'm looking forward to what Audi's going to do in the next couple of years in terms of the infotainment system. But the infotainment system is very straightforward. It's very responsive, supports Apple CarPlay, Android Auto wirelessly. And also you can adjust so many things there. For example, this has got air suspension, so you can control the suspension. So if you live in an area where you have a load of speed bumps, you'll be able to adjust those. And also the spoiler, you can also activate it and retract it as well, just pressing the button on the screen. Again, works really well. You can change a bunch of settings in there as you wish to do so. There's all the safety features like lane departure warning, there's Audi Presense or Presense, am I saying this right? But Audi Presense is basically the car's ability to use the vision system to be able to spot when something's gonna get in the way. So if a pedestrian's about to cross the road and you're not paying attention, this will actually activate the emergency braking so you don't hit someone. It works really well, and sometimes it's overzealous. So what I mean by that is sometimes there's nothing in the road, there's nothing about to get in your way. It just spots like a curb that's too high, especially in London, and it activates out of nowhere, and you're left with this sheer panic for a moment where you go, oh my God, what's happened? But there's nothing there. So that's one issue I had with Audi Presense. But other than that, it works really well. I'd rather something that works too well than something that doesn't work as well. The wiper works really well, especially when it comes to the sensors, when it's raining, when it's not raining. It does really well with that as well. So there's plenty of really good stuff here, and it's very premium. In fact, it's so solidly built that you have no problems, you have no worries, no concerns compared to if you were to buy a Tesla, for example. The level of premiumness in here that you don't even get in your Porsche Taycan. Yes, they share some parts and platform and all that stuff. In fact, if you open the frunk, you will see some Porsche writing in there because they share so much features together. But yeah, I think the level of premium built quality here is very high. It's honestly, you sit in this car, there's no one that sat in this car that hasn't just sat in it and just appreciate the level of just how premium it is, how luxurious it is in here. And I think if you spend that sort of money on this car, that's the sort of thing you expect to get for your vehicle, for your money. Moving on, let's talk about how practical it is in terms of charging. So I've had this now for just over 3 months. And I think every month I've spent at least £200, I'd say, on charging this car. And that's depending on the sort of mileage that I'm covering and also the type of charging station that I'm using. So if I'm going for Ionity charging station, for example, of course I'm gonna spend a bit more, which then means it costs me more for the month. When I go up to my brother up in Newcastle, Teesside area, then I'm spending a bit more as well because I'm having to charge 3-4 times just to get there. And then I'm using fast charge as well just to get myself back on the road very quickly. And I know it supports 270 kilowatts charging. Most of the time I've never get that level of speed. So that's something else to bear in mind. Audi quotes this to do, I think, around 280 miles on the WLTP. I don't get that, especially in this climate right now when it's a bit colder, in the colder temperature. I'd get like 190, 200 if I'm pushing it. So again, that just depends on your usage. So things like putting AC on and other things in the car would affect that. You do get heat pump as standard in this one, but even with that, you're still having to turn things off to squeeze out all the mileage that you can get out of here. So again, that's something to bear in mind. So in terms of practicality, again, it depends on who you ask, who you speak to, and what level of patience they have. I think for me, for someone who mainly drives around London, 190 miles is more than enough for me. I barely charge it that often when I don't do long journeys. It's when I do the long journeys that I have to worry about charging and all that stuff. You do get Audi charge card system, which means you'll be able to charge using that one single card in most of the charging stations that you can find around the country. It doesn't always work. It doesn't always work, especially on the motorway, those Charge Master, whatever they're called, highway grid serve stuff. It doesn't always work there, so you still have to whip out your credit or debit card to use those. But when it does work, it works seamlessly, especially like BP Pulse I have near me, so that's no problems at all. But also makes it easy to monitor your charging and your journey on the app. So if you load up the app, you'll be able to see what charging you're doing, your journey, your consumption. You can see all the stuff in the app. And speaking of the app as well, it's actually pretty fantastic. So it works on the Apple Watch. So I've got the Apple Watch Ultra 2 here. You can pretty much see everything. So like how much battery life you got left, if your car's secure, if it's locked, you can unlock it, unlock the car on your watch. You can even see your mileage and all that kind of stuff. It's very robust in terms of what you can see on there, and it's very, very responsive as well. On the phone app itself, you can see everything as well. Like I said, charging history, you can see your service, you can see charging stations around you, so you can navigate yourself to the Audi fast charge stations, so you can find yourself those stations very quickly using the app, which is really good. It works on iOS, works on Android as well. On to the next bit, and I think the final bit for me is the driving experience. I think driving in this is just sheer pleasure. Honestly, it just puts a smile on my face every time I drive this car, because when it comes to speed, you're looking at 0 to 62, 3.3 seconds in boost mode, but not in boost mode, you're looking at 3.6. Either way, that's still pretty fast. While I'm doing that turn there, the turning circle on this is really good because it's got all-wheel driving, and the rear wheels also turn as well, so they turn opposite to the front, so you get better, tighter turning circle, more than a lot of bigger vehicles out there, or even some small vehicles as well. Also, I know you can change from comfort to dynamic. Dynamic mode is where things get really, really active. I've never used dynamic mode. I've used it just for test purposes, but even in comfort mode, this thing is rapid. The drive experience is comfortable. You got air suspension, adaptive suspension, which means like when you're driving over speed bumps and rough roads and stuff, it just feels really nice and comfortable. It's nice and plush, even with that 21-inch set of alloys that you got on here. Road noise is not too much. It's just great. And when you're driving around corners and bends and stuff, thanks to the stiff chassis, it just sits flat. The rear wheels, that also turns as well. It just takes those corners really comfortably. It just eats it up. It's just like, it's nothing. This is where it wears that RS badge with confidence, because when it comes to speed, it's fantastic. It can do up to 150 miles per hour top speed. You got like more than 800 Newton meters of torque in here, which is plenty. You put your foot down and oh my God, it's an experience. Those areas for me is where I'm gonna be very, very sad when they come and pick this car up, because honestly, it's just an amazing car. Yes, it's expensive. Yes, it doesn't do massive long range to do cross country and all that stuff in one go or in one charge, yet it's still a great experience. It's every time you get in it, it puts a smile on your face. When you get out the car, it puts a smile on your face. When you look back at it and you think, oh, what a car. It's just fantastic all around. And I think it's just a job well done from Audi. So I like this car. It's definitely recommended, and I'll take this any day over a Taycan. But anyway, let me know what you think. If you have any questions, let me know as well. But that's been my 3 months or so with the Audi RS e-Tron GT. If I won the lottery tomorrow, this is probably a car that I would actually go out and buy for myself. But yeah, let me know what you think in the comments below. If you have any questions as well, drop them there. I'll do my best to answer your questions. And yeah, thanks for watching. I hope you guys have enjoyed the long-term review, and I hope to do more this year. Thanks for watching. See you guys in the next one.